Hey guys, Mr. Okino here. This is your second video for the week. It is on evaluating expressions. So we just finished working on writing expressions. Now that next step is to evaluate them, is to kind of try and fix them so that we have a simple answer. Okay, but how does this work, right? So we are no longer dealing with sentences and phrases. We are only dealing with expressions that have variables. And we will be we will be getting the value for each one of those variables so that we can evaluate those expressions. All right. How we do that, we substitute whatever that variable is equal to right into the problem and then evaluate. Okay. Well, let's try something here. Okay. So you always need to remember to follow your order of operations, right? Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. Make sure you're following that while we're solving these problems. So we have 16y plus 4 for y is equal to 2. What that is saying is that anytime you see a y in this problem, you are going to put a 2 in instead of a y. All right. And you have to remember 5y is the same thing as 5 times y, or 5 times y written this way, or 5 with y in parentheses. Okay. Just a reminder for everybody. So wherever I saw a y, I plugged a 2 in. So now it's 16 times 2 instead of 16y. Okay. Next thing we do, well, what's 16 times 2? Well, we split it out this way and we got 32. All right. And the 4 is just constantly coming down. I am not changing the problem. I'm just carrying the 4 down with each step that I do. All right. So now because multiplication came before addition, I did 16 times 2. I got 32. Last step, 32 plus 4 gives us a 36. So when we evaluated this problem for y is equal to 2, we got 36. Okay. This is not a solution. Okay. There are no equal signs. This is just what happens after we evaluated our expression for what they gave us. Okay. Let's try another one, but more than one variable. Let's shake things up just a little bit. 4s plus 12r for s is equal to 3 and r is equal to 2. Same exact rules apply. Okay? Whenever I see an s, I plug a 3 in. Whenever I see an r, I plug a 2 in. Okay? So our first step here is we substitute in. I put the 3 where the s is, and I put the 2 where the r was, right? It comes right from this statement. All right. So the first thing we do is we look down our PEMDAS and multiplication comes first. We do 4 times 3 and 12 times 2. All right. 4 times 3 gives me a 12. 12 times 2 gives me 24. Last and final step, we add them together. We get 36. Okay. If you see, I'm working down. Some of you guys work sideways. Um, I like working down my page only because you can see what happens at each level. Okay. When you're working sideways, sometimes your whole problem blends together. How about another one, but using some negatives? And now we got 3 variables. So now things are getting even trickier. They really shouldn't be if you're following your steps. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is substitute everything in, right? So instead of writing a y here, I'm going to substitute my 3 in because it tells me y is equal to 3. Instead of putting the x in, I'm going to put a -1 because it tells me -1. Instead of putting a 2 in where the r is, instead of putting an r in, I put a 2 in where the r is supposed to be. Okay. And don't forget your order of operations. Now, this is, if we go back to that reminder, this is 15 times x times r, just like I have it right here. But instead of the x, I put -1. Instead of the r, I put a 2. First step, I'm going to change everything in multiplication, and then we are going to multiply. 4 times 3 gives me 12, and 15 times a -1 gives me a -15. All right. I haven't multiplied by 2 yet, but that's going to be my next step. -15 times 2 gives me a -30. But hold on. What happened to my negative sign? What happened to my minus sign? Right? Well, if we do -15 times 2 multiplied by 2, I'm going to get a -30. Okay. But what happens if I have 12 minus negative 30? That's a double negative. Okay. When you have a double negative, they cancel each other out. Instead of writing minus negative, this problem now turns to 12 plus 30. Okay. Things change just a little bit and they change just that quickly. So you need to make sure if you so you need to make sure, let me erase that so it's not in your way, that if you ever have a double negative, right? A negative 30 minus negative 30, you got to change it to a plus sign. All right? We already answered this question. I kind of got ahead of myself. But that's about it, guys. If you have any questions, again, send me an email, message me on Schoology. You're going to be having some practice problems. I'm also going to be putting up a Khan Academy video. So if you are more comfortable hearing from somebody else, he's a great resource. So I'm going to put that up. I'm going to make sure that you guys have some work to get done. And let me know if you need anything. Look forward to hearing from you guys. All right.